Hey guys, and welcome. This is a big welcome. This is the last part of our Docs series, the Red Lobsters of Case. Their story is finally over. Now, we may not get to see what happens to the Doxes in the futures, but you know what, if you ask me, I think the future looks bright. I think they have a lot of control over Westeros, and I think that will continue to prevail into the future from what we can see. The only thing I would say is I think an interesting story would have been, Prince Parry, the young Prince Dox, getting quite good at martial, actually. Would have been a great story to have him and his two sisters, the two quick sisters. You could just imagine Prince Parry leading our nation, and the two sisters sat beside him, advising him as two very intelligent Doxes. That could have been a great story. Now, for this part, obviously, because it's a special part, we're just going to have the first maybe half, just being normal. Ooh, she gained 2 learning. Wow. 6 years old. She already knows more than me, probably, yeah. She's already better. She's, like, better than me at everything. Wow. And she's 6 years old. But yeah, this first half will probably be, like, as normal. And the second half of this episode, we'll probably go and look at the history of our dynasty and history of the series. I think the ending has been long overdue, just because of how far we've got. And I feel that the series has got a bit stale, and with some of the weird stuff that's going on, it kind of makes sense, really. He's humble, he's greedy, he likes his money. Yeah, we can't afford this. I think it's overdue, probably, for us to finish this. But the stories we've had throughout the past have been glorious. Maybe the last 10 parts, maybe it's not been that glorious, it's been about Norwin, mainly. But overall, I think the history you've had has been very interesting. We're going to talk about that as we go through. Now, I haven't done much preparation for this. I've not really gone back and watched the old parts to kind of think about every single one. But I'm hoping that will make it more interesting, because I'm going to go through, I'm going to see how many I can remember. How many members of our dynasty can I remember their story and what they were about? Which great ones, when I see them, I'll recall and be like, oh my god, I remember him. Oh, he was the one that, It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to that. So that'll be the last part. Also, in the description, you will find the save game. So I'm planning to put up the save game. You can go download it, and you can continue the world or continue as the Doxes in your own save from this point on when we finish the episode. Now, occupied my rightful seat. You would like to get Ibn back. Well, I am greedy, so I think we'll say no. We're greedy. I need this money for now. But yeah, I will be putting that in the description, so you can do it. So you can continue the story, you can play as someone else and try and overthrow the Doxes. You could do your own mission, try and kill all the Doxes if you want. That could be kind of fun to see. The Faith of the Seven. Praise them all. Sympathy for Eastern. He was a Northman, though, apparently. This war still will not end. But remember, obviously, that save file is based upon an old version of CK2 and the mod. Again, I'll put the information in the description so you know which version of CK2 and which version of the mod to play as. You won't be able to play it using the latest version of the mod or the latest version of CK2. I think if that war does not finish, we're going to have to just, do a tournament. But Dawn was just inherited. Prince Ormond Illyrian, married to a Mullendor, a Westerman. He's a sister who'd be next in line. I've grown increasingly attached to Minissa, and though our marriage was merely a practical arrangement, I wonder if I've now come to love her. Well, he is a family person, he is humble. Yeah, I could see him. This is a marriage of love. Yeah, I think even though he's deceitful, I don't think that means he'll necessarily... Yeah, he's manipulative, but that doesn't mean he will cheat on her. He might try to trick her, but it doesn't mean he has to cheat on her. With another woman, he's not lustful. So yeah, this marriage of love, I would say. He's now become chaste. He can be deceitful and chaste. That can make sense, I think. I'd say not everyone has to agree with that. That's what I see. For obtain a Valyrian steel sword. Let's expand the realm by conquest. I can't believe... the fact we haven't got the sword and stuff. Like I said, there's a lot of reasons why I would like to end the series, but there's a few of them in particular. Request coronation. We should really do that. Let's request my coronation. Of course he'll accept. But we've had such peace for so long. Leo has been a good man. A good king. Then again, I am trying to lower the faith authority. Maybe they won't be so happy about that. But yeah. And nothing popped up? Huh. Okay, we could call a Grand Council. Conquest. Yeah, let's try and see if we can. We have the gold. 100 gold. We're going to be the greatest Docks family. We're going to expand our realm by conquest. I'm a brave man. We can go do this. We should go take other lands. Bring them under the Westeros. There's so many people, you know, are in trouble in all these lands. But yeah. You have to create a Grand Council to be held. Just to finish up, just the finale for ourselves. We'll have a Grand Council. Then maybe a tournament. Yeah, and a tournament. All the important nobles of the Iron Throne have been issued a summon, compelling them to travel to King's Landing where they've all arrived. A great feast shall be had. What will the men and ladies of Westeros say? Will they want a grand campaign to take over lands, or will they be against it? I'll spend lavishly. Yeah, it's only 20 gold. I mean, I know he is greedy, but 20 gold is like nothing for how much money he has. And the fact that obviously he's deceitful, he knows that being able to use the money will probably get people on his side more. Stark. Okay. You want to work for me. You're a very good diplomat. You are, Sir Garin, but nah, we're fine for now. We don't need a man such as you. And it's done. They've all been given bread and shelter, as is their guest right, and now the feast may begin. The guest right has been given, they can all be safe. The last turf has been converted to the faith of the Seven. It's been converting the people up north. People, of course, are not very happy about that. They want satisfied with the food. Florian Macy, the ugly. It looks like someone got all my ugly. Oh no, I was disfigured by grayscale, I guess. Yeah, I guess I can't really say much. Shut up. Shut up, sir. You imbecile, I'm the great Docks family. Now, Leo would not say that. Leo is a humble man. He's a humble man. He would not say that. The feasting is over. Now the council can begin in earnest. Everyone is assembled in the hall, with the more notable attendees closest to yourself. By Philip. Is read out by Philip. I guess Philip is my, which one? Our Master of Law. Yes, Mr. Philip. We probably should redo our council. Hand of the King. Yeah, Ormond Delirian might be better. It's 2 below, he's 3 above. Yeah, I think we might go for him. We'll go for him. Master of Laws will be Myken? I guess we could put Myken as it. Or Oreo. Could get some of the people to like us. There's not much difference between them. Myken, just because it's Myken. He's been with this family a long time. Okay. Ironborn Master of Arms. Jaehaerys Valerian, Master of Coin and his dragon. And Area of Ferries, the Bravosi man. He doesn't like me now. But, sir, you liked me before, and now you don't like me after I gave you something. That man is better. Okay, so we've got a council there. You can see the interesting mixture of people in the council. The feasting is over. Now we can debate. What will the people say? Lord Lothar came to speak. He argued in favour of our plan. Lothar Moore, thank you very much. Argued in favour. King Magister Torgodoro. The free city of Pentos. A vassal of note, the High Septon, argued in favour. Thank you, High Septon. With the High Septon behind us, who could possibly stand against us? Everyone should go on a campaign where he claims everyone will bond together in camaraderie. He likes the idea of, you know, going together. He's 55, you know, listen to the old man. Oh, I guess he's a lunatic. He's gone crazy with age, maybe don't. How debauched. He praised King Lear for potentially granting everyone an opportunity to go on a campaign. Yeah, he said the same thing. And the bastards that will be spawned because of the war. Okay. Master Narbo, kind of a lower one there. Ah, the Dornishman. He pronounced that all those present, that no ruler, not even a king, cannot just set aside accepted laws and acquire land by conquest without any just claim. He opposed this. I just made you part of my council, sir. Failed to rouse any cheering. Courtney Stakely. Okay. I mean, he is ill. It's a bit hard for him. The Grand Maester, Maester Frey. He was in favour of the invasion. Thank you very much, Mr. Frey. My own family, the Lord Magister Reynard Docks, in favour of the invasion, failed to rouse any cheering, but he agrees with us. In favour? There's a lot of people in favour. Everyone's hostile. No one really likes Renly de Rondon. Anger and laughter. Yeah, people weren't fond of his speech. Well, most convincing, it seems. She spoke in favour. Leanne Yonwood, the Good. Well, that's a good name. Resonate with many. Okay, again, support us. Oh, there's so many. Okay. He spoke for us, but people... that's mostly everyone. Mostly everyone seems in support. I better speak well, it's my turn. You did your best to inspire and persuade. Yeah, he's going to be terrible. Oh no, King Leo. But unfortunately, most of the nobles present found your speech ponderous and grandiose. Those that did not fall asleep found your promise of glory and land came across as hollow. By the end, only a few gave mild applause. I'm sure they'll forgive me for a bad speech. He is so bad at speeches. Look at his diplomacy. 0. The Grand Council is finally over. Have had their say. A decree allowing you to launch an invasion was always going to pass, seeing as you have the final say. We do now know who can rely on upon to support it, though. Wow, that's a lot of people who opposed the plan. I guess they had their minds changed. But a lot of people support it. I'm surprised. I really thought everyone was supporting it, but I guess that a lot of the ones who opposed it didn't speak, it looks like. Yeah, a lot of those ones didn't actually speak. And they weren't convinced by the ones who did speak. But that Leanne Yonwood is against the invasion. I managed to tell her, damn it, because of my speech, I've actually turned it off it. Yeah, I support it. We'll say. He's not happy with the council? How rude. Stormed out the council hall. Those are minor people. They're not important. They're minor people. Who cares what they think? Truces are expiring. So we could go and invade someone. But before that, I need to hold a tourney for our next King's Guard member. How's this going? Okay, we're just going to hold the tourney. I can't wait. We're going to run out of time. Hold a grand tourney. A grand tourney, the biggest ever. And a Master of Laws. We'll go for him then. I'm not going to get into anything because, like I say, we're going to finish anyway, so it's not a big deal. She needs a guardian, someone who's good at diplomacy. She's turned out pretty good though, that young girl. I guess Oreo. We'll get him to educate her. Dangerous faction, overthrow the monarchy. That's gone a bit big. Yeah, some people were not happy. Yeah, the gardener, the downcast. They're not particularly happy about this. But having the tournament might be good then. Having the tournament might put everyone at ease. He got 7 gold. Wow, what a glorious one. They'll be paid well, I assure you. This is the time. Have the tourney. Actually, how is my Master of Whispers? Yeah, he hated me. Now he hates me even more. So we're going to go for this guy. He actually likes us. Okay, Dale. Westerman, he's a knight. He's a scholar. Okay, yeah. He seems to know what's going on. You go there, just in case. Just in case people are going to kill me because of what I did. I've approved the institution of medium feudal levies. When's the tournament going to begin? Employ Renly. Okay, Matthias Rivers. Well, you can't come because you're black, but I think if we were to get him, he just goes back. So we can't really bring him on board. Okay, seems to be a lot of people at the tournament. Not a surprise. Ooh, he came out drunk. Sorry about that. Alec came out drunk. The dwarf. The drunken dwarf came out on his horse. This is an outrage. I am humble. Yeah. Ah. Found a gap in the armor, so Tristan Sand was killed. Oh no! By Sir Willis. How unfortunate. Sir Willis must feel distraught. What a poor man. Can't be good to kill a man by accident. That's what I call gold. That's a bit better. 151 gold. I mean, it's not 1,000 gold, but it's better than the other one. What happened to the rest of the tournament? Okay, here we go. Jarmin Gower and Sir Laurent. You think you could take on my Lord Commander? Jarmin Gower, still a formidable fighter, still 18 at 55 years old. Ah, the just. But, you know, you did do well, Ryle. You know, you got this far. People who get this far, and this is the grandest tournament in the whole world, most likely. So even getting this far is a big thing. And only 2 knights remain. My Lord Commander won. There you go. That shows you we've made right choices. The fact our Lord Commander wins shows we made the right choices. And Archibald Yonwood was second. Now, I can't make him into a member of the King's Guard. There's no way we can do that because he already has a wife. Matrilineal, actually. Okay. And the Lord Commander chose as the Queen of Love and Beauty, Donnice? I guess Donnice Dane. Donnice Dane is the Queen of Love and Beauty. What a nice choice. I guess you could see why he chose her. Obviously, he can't marry. So maybe he's not really got any lover. No. He does. So were they already lovers? Or does by him choosing her, can that make them lovers? I'm not sure. But you can see why he likes her. You know, she's a very beautiful girl, obviously. But also, she is a fighter. She's actually a trained fighter. So she knows how to look after herself. Her mother, Royne. So there we go. We didn't actually then get anyone to be our new Lord Commander. This man showed himself to be good. A good performance indeed. But he's also married. Damn, okay. A glorious event. Well, we need someone who's good. Formid. So formidable. Ooh, this girl's a formidable fighter. Kingslander, old gods. Huh. She's a formidable fighter. Would she be able to accept? No, I don't think she's a knight. Have religion, faith of the 7. Yeah, she can't be chosen. That's a shame. This guy is a craven, no. Roos. This eunuch. Huh, he's a Cranigman, but he was trained to be an Unsullied. Interesting. Yeah, I can't make him a member of the King's Guard either. He's not faith of the 7. She is pretty old. Drink water. Tywin Dox. Sorry, Tywin Drox. Not Dox, that's us. This guy's a Drox. Can't make him a King's Guard. A place in the... Oh! No place in the King's Guard's vacant. I was sure there was. Oh. Did I go crazy? Did I do it last time and I completely forgot? I remember getting Goodwin Snow, but... yeah, I must have completely forgot. Okay, my bad. I apologize. We didn't need to do the tournament, but it's good to end on a tournament. Our Lord Commander winning is a glorious day. And we can do invasion. I say we attack Kuhor. Huh. I can't invade. Ooh, there's actually a pirate king. The pirate king. Chamo. His wife is a Lazine woman. I guess Bravos would be a good one to attack as well. Yeah, I can't attack for it. Huh. Why is that? Did I not get the claim? Okay, well, we're not going to attack anyone. And we're going to end... I think we're going to end that part here. So that is how the family ends. It ends with King Leo secure on the Iron Throne, people loving him. He's not really had any problems. We've not had any problems for a long time. Has to be said. So we're going to end kind of the story there, and we're now going to look at the history. So yeah, thank you guys, like I said, ever so much for joining us on this journey. The Doc series has been one of my favorite series. At the end, I did kind of get bored of it, but like I said, that we had to finish it at some point. That's just the way a lot of Paradox games go. You have to just finish it at some point. They can go on forever. But I really love this series and the family we created. So we're going to go through the history. And you might be surprised. It's, oh, It's a pretty long history. And of course, who can forget? It all started one day in Case. Case, there was once a proud lobster family. A proud lobster family led by a man called Parry Docks. Parry of Case. He was known for selling his lobsters. He'd made a big business. He was rich from his selling of lobsters and other seashells, other seafood across Westeros. But because of his wealth, he got an opportunity to become the Lord of Case. But becoming Lord of Case was not the end of it. As we can see, Lord Parry, first member of the Docks family, first time a Docks had ever become a lord, he expanded quickly. He took over what would become basically the ancestral homes of the Dockses, as we can remember. Fair Isle, I think he had Morn Hill, Feast Fires, Case. He was a good man. But yeah. And then of course he died. When he died, we had his son, Lord Humphrey of Case. Now, Lord Humphrey of Case, he did not last so long. He died aged 25, severe maiming. His maiming, he just never recovered. He never recovered from that. Some say maybe there was foul play involved in his maiming. But who knows? We'll never be able to know now. Then, of course, we had Lord Lan, the Eloquent of Case. He inherited from his brother. The other brother as well, Lord Willett, he also was given Feast Fires. So all three of the brothers did get lands. All three of the sons of Parry Docks did get lands. But the main line was continued for Lord Lan. And of course he died in suspicious circumstances. Again, hard to really know what happened to him, but we can see here, this was one of the most interesting times, I think, for the Docks family. After Parry Docks, a great lord, people liked him, he conquered. Things kind of became a bit stale. We conquered more lands, Sarsfield and other Oxcross and stuff, kind of stretching out, collecting our power. And not only that, but the Lannisters were also starting to appreciate our families, giving our family titles and trusting us more than a lot of the other lords. The Lannisters, it seemed, did not trust a lot of their former High Lords. Because we were new High Lord, it seemed as though the Lannisters wanted to curry our favour, so that way we could be a loyal vassal to them. They married into us, they educated us. We kind of almost became a bit like the Lannisters. They taught us everything they knew, which became important in the future. Now, of course, Lan, like I said, his days did not end very well, and he had two sons, of course. One being Lord Dunson the Old. Obviously, as you can tell, he actually lasted a long line. His wife was Lady Paramount, Rosamund Lannister. Like I said before, we didn't marry into the Lannisters. This was our opportunity. You can see that in just only a couple of generations, we managed to become the Lord Paramounts of the Westerlands. Dunson. Maybe not the greatest of men. Maybe it was more thanks to his father, Lan. He got some good marriages and stuff. He was kind of the brains of the outfit with that nice intrigue. But Dunson was the one with the marriage and, of course, the children. He had a lot of kids, and that was extremely useful for the family, obviously, after having a few people die quite young. After Parry Docks, it was important to get a lot of people on board. As you can see, 56 living members nowadays. But of course, he got the paramountcy. We kind of pushed it because the Lannisters, after the Lannisters became, the kings of the Iron Throne at that point due to the elective monarchies, we kind of saw an opportunity because the Lannisters of the Westerlands, we didn't feel were proper Lannisters. They didn't push or do the same things the Lannisters did in the past. They were weak. They were not proud. They completely abandoned the things that made the Lannisters great. We felt we were better Lannisters, and of course our wife herself we felt was a better Lannister than all the ones that remained, so we pushed for her claim, and that gave us a great position to be in. Lord Dunson, of course disfigured by grayscale, the ugly Docks curse went through our family a lot, but of course it's not just Dunson, his brother, Lord Commander Robb the Unready. Maybe he was unready, but he was a Lord Commander, the first Docks to become a Kingsguard member, which is great in its own right, but then also a Lord Commander. I remember that. We were very proud that day. That was a proud day indeed. Infirm, He became blind from age, of course. He wasn't the best fighter, really. But, you know, at that point, our influence had got very big. We were in the courts of King's Landing. We'd taken over Westerlands, basically. We were basically getting in everywhere. That was kind of the sign of when we started to become big. When our influence had finally grown, we were no longer lobster merchantmen. We were finally people of power. But obviously, lots of kids here, as we can see. His first son, Lord Paramount Timos, became the Lord Paramount. A very important man. He was pretty good, I think, overall. If I remember correctly, Timos did quite a good job. He was kind of a good fighter, you know, skilled fighter, a duelist. Though he was cruel and wrath. He wasn't the nicest of men, but he ruled with a strong hand. And that's what the lands needed. Being the first Dox to control the Westerlands, he faced many problems. Many vassals didn't like him. They couldn't abide a non-Lannister being a leader. But we showed we were true descendants of Lannisters. We were the true inheritors of the... If I can remember the Lannister's name. I'll try and go find him in a bit. The Lannister, I always forget his name, who trained us and educated our family. He taught us everything he knew. We were more like him than his children and other relatives. Of course, he had many kids as well. We'll get to them in a second. His brother, Lord Land, the Decadent, he had, of course, Case, and his family kind of descended through Case, as we can see there. They still have it today. Well, he was killed, slain by Merryweather. Strong then as well. As his brother got it, and he died, and the sister got it. And that one, yeah, they lost it. Now here's that. Okay, so at some point his line, I think, lost Case to someone else. But it did last for quite a while, Mr. Lan. He did a good job overall. We should probably go back again. And of course we have Polliver Dox. Polliver Dox didn't particularly do much. You know, he died, he was ill, he was maimed. He was a nice man, but he died. Didn't really do much in his time. Tommen Dox, very similar situation, maimed of course. Had kids as well. His son was the man who became the Lord of Ashmark, though. And I think in the end they did lose that. Yeah, in the end they did lose that to the Sars. The Sarsfields did get a certain amount of revenge against us after we took their lands. We had some interesting relationships with people of the Westerlands. The Sarsfields we had a lot of conflict with. The Rains, to begin with, we were quite good friends, but that descended into just... We had to put them down at 1 or 2 points. But after that, things became stable. The Westerlings were really good to us. They were a great family of us. They, I don't think, ever rebelled. And sometimes they were one of our greatest... A lot of them, they had some very good intrigue people for spy masters. The Leffords were on and off. It depended on the Lefford. At first, they were great allies to us because they saw the monetary worth. Maybe they saw some similarities with us. But then they turned against us when they realized we were getting too powerful and too popular. Hornvale was another one that's kind of a problem for us a lot of the time. The Paynes were kind of... I don't know, we didn't have that much of a relationship, I felt, with the Paynes. Overall. And of course, the Gardeners. We had Gardeners in these lands and stuff. And of course, the Crackles lost their lands early on. The Hawthorns controlled it for quite a while. And again, to begin with, they were very aggressive against us. They didn't like the fact that Dox was the rulers, but we managed to put them down. And since then, they've been pretty good. What about the other ones then? Of course, we had another Dox as a Kingsguard member. Sassander Dox in 2 generations. 2 Doxes in the Kingsguard. I mean, that was pretty impressive. Again, they both weren't even that great, I think, when it came to combat. But they did it. And that's exactly what we wanted. Some stuff like that. Let's go through to the next one then. His son, Lord Paramount Dunson. Yep, he was the first one to get the dragon's egg. Thanks to his father and stuff, he was able to get a dragon egg from his wife, Alia, and that set a new precedent for our family for a long time. It set what we sometimes like to call the Age of Dragon Fever. The time when the Doxes found they could actually have the possibility to have a dragon. It became so tempting to them. He was a great marshal, strong, maybe not the best at fighting. He was a bit of a coward, really, but he could lead other men. but he died very young, died from his grayscale. He went searching to hatch the egg. Like I said, as we called the, what did I say again? The dragon fever. The time of dragon fever made him go off to try and uncover the secrets of the egg, but his adventures only led him to death. It was not good. Died a stillborn. Then we had Lord Paramount Fawley. Now, of course, Fawley took on, how should I say this? He took on the mantle of his father, Timos, and of course his brother who died trying to hatch this egg. He took on this weight, this heavy moment to try and do it himself, and in doing so he also converted to Rolla. They offered him a path to try and tame this dragon, and he took it. He took it with both hands, and he was able to finally have his own dragon. Sadly, we can't see what the dragon was. That's kind of a shame, but he was known as the Dragon Tamer. Possibly the greatest dogs. I mean, actually, on his own traits, he's not too bad. 19 martial, but the fact he tamed a dragon, it's a pretty big moment, you know. I'll put it down to you guys. I'd love to hear in the comment section, who do you think was the greatest dogs? Of all the ones we're going through right now, who do you think was the greatest dogs? I would like two, the greatest dogs, and who do you think is the most underappreciated dogs? I would like to know what you guys think. Which one do you think is the dogs that you think did pretty well that doesn't get the recognition? Like maybe the dogs, the first one that came Lord Commander. Maybe you think he doesn't get enough recognition because he wasn't part of the main line. You know, he didn't own land. He was just a Lord Commander. Maybe he doesn't get the recognition. Maybe you feel that one of the docs is like Timos. He set up a lot of things like the dragon for us. Maybe he deserves more recognition. I'd love to know what you guys think. But he hatched a dragon and he tamed it. It was a great moment. And of course we tried to abide to the Leffords by marrying with them, trying to keep them at bay. Now obviously for Fawley, it was not a great time. In the end, he died of poor health before he was able to go for independence. He always thought by having a dragon he could bring independence to the Rock. Back before the Targaryens came and created this new kingdom, and then of course became an elective monarchy, he wanted to go back to the old times, to show people in the Westerlands that the Doxes were the true inheritors of the Westerlands. But sadly, fate did not have it for him. Maybe you guys think Fawley, because he died before he could do his plans, maybe that puts him down on your list. Maybe you feel he's not as great maybe as I'm putting him out to be. He may have been the first one, but in the end it didn't come up to much, possibly you think. But yeah. Then of course his son. This is where things get kind of interesting. Godwyn the Bewitched. Godwyn, of course, took on his father's... He tried to take on his father's own thing. Of course, he was independent, the Kingdom of the Rock. But he, of course, was slain by Rhaegar Velaryon in combat. He was killed by a dragon, in a dragon fight, basically. Just like his father, a man with great ambitions. He maybe wasn't as good at fighting as his father, but he had similar ambitions, and in the end, he thought we relied on the dragons too much. He relied on the inheritance of his father too much. His father, you know, his father didn't just have dragons. He was a great man of his own desire. He had intrigue, he could fight, he could lead men. He had his own things. He was ambitious, like we know. But his son took on the mantle. He did a good job, but he relied too much upon the dragons that he inherited from his father. And that, in the end, was his downfall. When he lost that dragon, that was the beginning of the end. When he lost that battle, I guess, that was the beginning of the end of the independent of the Rock, sadly. And of course, then we had his son, King Sandor the Just. Now, this one here is an interesting debate. Looking back on history, people are unsure of really the legitimacy of King Sandor. Obviously, Godwyn, you know, he had 2 children, they say, but there was rumors he was a homosexual, that maybe he would find it difficult to have children. And of course, this led to people maybe, you know, and obviously his attraction was down, he was scarred, he was disfigured. A lot of people rumored that maybe the son was not his own. The fact Sandor kind of went more towards his mother's side, you know, she was Lorathi, he took on the Lorathi hair, the blue hair and stuff. It was very unusual for a Dox or any Westerman to do such a thing. So many people felt maybe he was not a true son of the Doxes. But then again, some people point out that he was disfigured, continuing the line of an ugly Dox. But all his efforts to try to prove he was a real Dox kind of went badly. No one would believe him. He couldn't tame the dragons properly. He couldn't show people he really was. And so things did not go well for him. He even tried to marry into some foreign people, but to no avail. His wife was even eaten by a dragon. A very sad story. Was he a true Dox? Maybe not. Maybe he couldn't tame the dragon because he wasn't a true Dox. Or maybe he was just an unlucky Dox. An unlucky one that maybe people have got completely wrong. We'll never know. We'll never know. I know some people want me to try and click on him, to try and find out if he was or not. I'm not going to do that. History, as we know, always has these mysteries. Was this person really their child? Why did this person do this? That type of thing. These mysteries are throughout history. I'm going to leave that up to you guys, the true historians, the maesters. They will decide really what happened in this situation. He had one son, of course, King Garion. Garion. It was never going to go well, was it? In the end, he tried to continue also doing what his father was doing. He tried to show that he also was a Dox after the rumors and the talking about his own father. And that led to his death by Sephiroth. A big, big dragon who is dead right now. Actually, I didn't even notice that. King Norwin, he slayed one dragon. That one dragon was the dragon that killed Garion. How did I not remember that? Now that would be, you'd think that's like it's written in a book. You'd think that'd be like something in a book or something. Now that is interesting. But Garion was killed, again leading to more rumors that his father was not a true Dox. And so some even welcomed the death. Some welcomed the death because the lands were then passed on to Godwin's brother. Godwin's brother, Lord Paramount Timos the Scarred. Timos was a Faith of the Seven, so things went back to Faith of the Seven. For a while, Rolla had reigned in the Rock, had through its path led the Doxes to glory. But after that, things changed. Timos did not care so much for this Eastern faith. He was a zealous man of the faith, and he brought back the Faith of the Seven to the Westerlands. He also maybe bent his knee back to the Iron Throne, but with the loss of the dragons, and as we said, the dragon fever of which he and other Doxes, him and his son, coined after that, they felt it was the best choice. They could not take on the might of the Iron Throne without a dragon. And dragon thrones, as we'd seen, had really damaged the family. The family was in disarray. What was to happen? Where would the family go from here? They had another brother. There was a bastard son, Yorko Hill. He was slain by Sander Payne. I did mention we had not much with the Paynes, but I guess that was one. Maybe you could talk about. Other than that, mostly all... Oh, the other son, I almost forgot. Ralph Dox. Died from Maimon. A lot of Doxes died from Maimon. That was a common thing in our family. But yes, Timos the Scarred then. He was quite old when he inherited, so he died from there, just a natural death. He was respected. Maybe he wasn't the most loved Dox that ever lived. Maybe he wasn't the greatest. But he was damn respected by the people of the Westerlands. He gave the Doxes back a footing and control into the Westerlands. I'd love to know what you guys think. Do you think maybe he could go on the list of one of the greatest Doxes? Or do you think that he stabilized the realm for the Doxes? Or do you think maybe that he took the wrong path? Maybe his zealousness blinded him from the potential of power? I'd love to know what you guys think. His son, his only son, Lord Paramount Tybalt, was the next to inherit. Now this is when, actually, we're almost to the end. This wasn't that long ago. But he was married to Rhonda Gardner. For a while we've been married into the Gardners. We had strong relationships with the Gardners. Oops. Apologies. Tybalt, though, obviously, was a great fighter. That's what he was known by his father. Some said he could even take on a dragon, possibly. But Tybalt, as his father has always taught him to stay away from dragons. He was a kind man, but he was ambitious. But he was also incapable as he got older. And he died of old age. But not without putting his wife Actually, it wasn't Nim, was it? It was Norwin, actually, if I remember correct. I can't remember, actually. Was it him or Norwin? But yeah, him or Norwin put Rhonda as Queen of the Iron Throne by manipulating the system. Tybalt, because of his ambitions, he may have been a nice man, but he was ambitious. And because of what happened, the independence of the Westlands in the past, he obviously used the politics of the Westeros after going under it. He decided to work from the inside, to do things a different way. Don't use power, don't use dragons that maybe are a glass cannon. Once you lose them, you could lose everything. He decided to take it all instead from the inside. So using his ambition, he made very good alliances, very good marriages, good diplomacy. And he also decided to kind of push to get the gardeners to be the kings of the Iron Throne. Not an elective monarchy. In the past, the many years there was elective monarchy after the Targaryens fell from grace. Since then it had been elective monarchy, but Tybalt decided to change things. He wanted the gardeners who were in power at the time to be kings forever. That way maybe his wife would have a claim to the Iron Throne. Her father, Clayton, was that man. Clayton the Gentle was a good man. People loved him. The realm looked to him. He maybe wasn't the bravest man, but he knew what he was doing. He could lead men, and he could give to men. He was zealous. He protected them. He was probably a pretty decent king. One of the best kings, it probably would be said, of the Iron Throne. But he saw an opportunity. Tybalt used this niceness of this man to push for him. People would support it. They made him become king of the Iron Throne. His family would be kings. And he used that to put his own wife as Queen of the Iron Throne, as the true inheritor of Clayton, rather than his arguing and fighting family. Palmer and Omer, things did not go well for him. He was cursed from the beginning. Humphrey as well. Names that you guys probably remember. In the end, though, Rhonda came out on top, as that meant Tybalt's son, Norwin, was the future king of the Iron Throne. Norwin the Reader. He didn't just inherit because he was destined to, or he was meant to. He inherited because he deserved to. Look at this. Probably one of the most diplomatic and learned and cunning of the Doxes we had. And becoming king meant he was able to stabilize the realm. He had hardly any problems. He lived for a long time, to the age of 73. He read all the books. He knew all the poems. And he even knew how to protect himself a little bit. And of course he was attractive. I mean, no man could face him down. And that's how he stabilized the realm and put a dynasty that would last, hopefully for centuries to come. And of course, though, we saw Magister Rupert. And the less said about him, the better. You fool. You damn fool. And now we have King Leo. That is the dynasty. That is the story of the Doxes. Like I said before, I'd love to hear in the comment section. Who do you think was the greatest Dox? And who do you think is the most underrated Dox? Obviously, there are a lot of things I've missed. I couldn't go over everything, of course. We're quickly going to look for that Lannister. There we are. Damien the Just. Probably one of the greatest Lannisters. He taught us everything we knew. And thanks to him, we were able to set ourselves up as the true inheritors of the Westlands after his family showed their weakness. They couldn't control it. They didn't deserve it after him. But yeah. I hope you guys have enjoyed the series. Look out for the next series, which I hope you'll enjoy just as much as this one. I know I will. And yeah, it's time for us to say goodbye to the Doxes. We'll never see them again, because they're our custom house. But we had many adventures. We did most of the things. The Valerian Steel Sword, getting the dragons, independence, and the Iron Throne. We kind of did everything. The only thing I wish would have happened was the other invasion. It would have been perfect if the other invasion could have happened. I know I can do events to make it happen, but we would probably win. If the other invasion happened right now, we would win. And like I say, I like to roleplay based upon what does happen. I like the unexpectedness. I don't like to make things happen just for entertainment value. I'd rather it happen because it should happen, or because it does happen. But yeah. I really do hope you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. I'll see you guys around.